The Three Bears. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears who lived together in a house in the woods. One of them was a small wee bear, one of them was a middle-sized bear, and the last one was a great huge bear. They each had a pot for their porridge. A small pot for the small wee bear, a middle-sized pot for the middle-sized bear, and a great huge pot for the great huge bear. And they each had a chair to sit in, a small chair, a middle-sized chair, and a great huge chair. And they each had a bed to sleep in, a small bed, a middle-sized one, and a great huge bed. One day, after they had made their breakfast porridge and poured it into their porridge pots, they went for a walk in the woods, leaving the porridge to cool. While they were out walking, a little girl came into the clearing where their house was. She could have not been a good little girl, because she peeped into the window and then peered through the keyhole to see if anyone was home. And seeing that nobody was in the house, she lifted the latch and went in. Inside the house, the little girl saw the porridge pots on the table. If she had been a good little girl, she would have waited until the bears came home. But she was a naughty little girl, so she set about helping herself. First, she tasted the porridge of the great huge bear, but it was too hot for her. Then she tasted the porridge of the middle-sized bear, and that was too cold for her. And then she found the porridge of the small wee bear and tasted that. It was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right. And she liked it so much that she ate it all up. Then the little girl sat down in the chair of the great huge bear, but that was too hard for her. Next, she sat down in the chair of the middle-sized bear, but that was too soft for her. And then she sat down in the chair of the small wee bear, and that was neither too hard nor too soft, but just right. So she sat and sat until the bottom fell out, and down she went, bump onto the floor. Then the little girl went upstairs and into the bedroom where the 3 bears slept. First, she lay down in the bed of the huge great bear, but the pillow was too high. So next, she lay down on the bed of the middle-sized bear, but the pillow was too flat. So she lay down on the bed of the small wee bear, and the pillow was neither too high nor too flat, but just right. So she covered herself up and was so comfortable that she fell fast asleep. By this time, the 3 bears thought their porridge would be cool enough to eat, so they went home for breakfast. Now the little girl had left the spoon of the great huge bear standing in his porridge. "Somebody has been eating my porridge," said the great huge bear in his great rough, gruff voice. "Somebody has been eating my porridge," said the middle-sized bear in his middle voice. "Somebody has been eating my porridge and has eaten it all up," said the small wee bear in his small wee voice. The 3 bears, seeing that someone had come into their house and eaten up the small wee bear's breakfast, began to look for whoever it was. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said the great huge bear in his great rough, gruff voice. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said the middle-sized bear in his middle voice. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair and has sat the bottom out of it," said the small wee bear in his small wee voice. Then the 3 bears thought they had better look upstairs, so they went up to their bedroom. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the great huge bear in his great rough voice. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the middle-sized bear in his middle voice. And when the small wee bear looked up at his bed, on the pillow was the head of the little girl. "Somebody has been lying in my bed, and here she is," said the small wee bear in his small wee voice. Now, even though she was fast asleep, the little girl had heard the great rough, gruff voice of the great huge bear as if in a dream. And she had heard the middle voice of the middle-sized bear, but she still didn't wake up. But when she heard the small wee voice of the small wee bear, it was so sharp and shrill and close that it woke her up at once. Up she started, and when she saw the three bears looking at her from one side of the bed, she tumbled out the other side and ran to the window, which was open. Out jumped the little girl, and whether she hurt herself when she hit the ground, or found her way home through the woods, or was punished for staying away from school that day, well, no one knows. But she was never seen by the three bears again.